Hi, everyone. My name is Amanda Gazinski, and today I'll be presenting on how technology can transform student learning through the use of Book Creator. As educators, we're constantly looking for new ways to not only engage students, but to deepen their learning and make it more meaningful. This presentation focuses on how Book Creator can move instruction beyond the traditional writing tasks and into a more interactive, student centered learning experience. I will be using the SAMR model to analyze this tool, as well as applying a structured technology evaluation process to determine whether this tool should be adopted in a school setting. The problem. In many classrooms, students are asked to complete traditional writing assignments, such as essays, short responses, or constructed responses. While these tasks are important for building foundational skills, they often have limitations. One of the biggest limitations is that students are typically writing for a single audience, the teacher. This can make the task feel more like something to complete rather than something meaningful to create. Additionally, traditional writing tasks often limit student creativity. Students may have strong ideas, but they're restricted to expressing them through text alone, without opportunities to incorporate visuals, voice, and other forms of expression. Because of this, engagement can sometimes be lower, and students may not feel a strong sense of ownership over their work. Why it matters. This matters because the skills students need today go beyond just writing. They need to be able to communicate ideas clearly, think critically, collaborate with others, and engage with content in meaningful ways. When students are given opportunities to create rather than just complete assignments, their level of engagement increases. They begin to take more ownership of their learning and see their work as something valuable. Additionally, providing students with multiple ways to express their understanding supports different learning styles and helps create more inclusive classroom environment. Ultimately, the goal is to move from passive learning to active, student-centered learning experiences. Tool overview. Book Creator is a digital platform that allows students to create multimedia books by combining text, images, audio, and video into one cohesive product. What makes this tool especially powerful is that it allows students to go beyond traditional writing. Instead of simply typing or writing their ideas, students can record their voice, add visuals, and design their work in a way that reflects their understanding. The platform is also very user friendly, which makes it appropriate for middle school students. Students can easily navigate the tools, which reduces frustration and allows them to focus on the learning task rather than the technology itself. Because of these features, Book Creator has the potential to transform how students engage with writing and communication. For this demo, I created a Book Creator book for one of our Holocaust lessons. So, looking at Book Creator in action, students are able to build their work step by step within the one platform. They can start by adding text, just like a traditional writing assignment. From there, they can record themselves reading.
Whose ID card do you have? I have Bertha Adler, who is one of three daughters to her Yiddish speaking Jewish parents.
This helps to add a layer of voice and personal connection to their work. They can also add images, visuals to support their thinking. Here, I've even linked a Prezi and a TikTok video, which really helps to make their ideas clear and more engaging for the audience. What stands out to me is that students are not just completing an assignment, they're creating something that feels more like a finished project. This shifts the focus from simply writing to actually communicating ideas in meaningful ways. At the end here, I also wanted to just include the different aspects. So I can look at creating a new book, there's different sizes. And then from there, there are just so many elements that you can play with. Here we see that we have a cover, we have a couple pages, and then we can insert all types of media. We can create shapes, we can have text box, and then my favorite is those students that are just maybe having a hard time getting started. There are so many templates. This could could be used for portfolios, book reports. They have templates for just about anything to get your writers and readers started. Classroom application. In a classroom setting, this tool could be used to transform a traditional writing assignment into a digital publishing experience. For example, instead of writing a standard essay, students could create a digital book where they present their argument, include evidence, and explain their reasoning. They would still be practicing the same core skills writing, organizing ideas, and using evidence, but they would also be developing additional skills such as communication, creativity, and digital literacy. Before and after. When comparing the traditional lesson to the technology enhanced version, the differences are significant. In a traditional setting, students complete an essay that is read only by the teacher. With Book Creator, students are creating a product that can be shared with others, which gives their work a sense of purpose. The task also shifts from being static to interactive. Students are not just writing, they're designing, recording, and presenting their ideas. This shift increases engagement and encourages students to take more ownership of their learning. SAMR overview. The SAMR model is a framework used to evaluate how technology is integrated into instruction. It includes 4 levels: substitution, augmentation, modification, and redefinition. At the lower levels, technology simply replaces or enhances traditional tasks. At the higher levels, technology allows for significant redesign or the creation of an entirely new learning experience. The goal is not to just use technology, but to use it in a way that transforms learning. SAMR breakdown. In this example, we can see how the lesson progresses through the SAMR levels. At substitution, students might type their essay instead of writing it by hand. At augmentation, they might use the tools like spell check or editing features to improve their work. At modification, the task is redesigned as students begin creating digital versions of their writing. At redefinition, students create a multimedia book that includes narration, visuals, and the ability to share their work with others. Redefinition. When I look at the use of Book Creator within my Holocaust lesson, I would say that it would reach the level of redefinition because students are engaging in a task that wouldn't be possible without technology. They're combining multiple forms of communication written, visual, and spoken to express their ideas. They're also creating a product that can be shared and experienced by others, which adds authenticity to the task. This moves learning beyond the traditional expectations and allows students to demonstrate their understanding in more meaningful ways. Evaluation. To determine whether this tool should be adopted in a school setting, I evaluated it using a key criteria from a technology evaluation model. This process focuses on reviewing the tool's appropriateness, features, uniqueness, support systems, accessibility, and overall value. This step is important because it ensures that decisions about technology are based on student learning and instructional goals, rather than just convenience or novelty. Appropriateness. This tool is appropriate for classroom use because it directly aligns with learning objectives, particularly in English language arts. It supports writing, communication, and organization of ideas, which are key skills for students at the middle school level. Additionally, the platform is age appropriate and easy for students to navigate, which helps to ensure that the focus remains on learning rather than struggling with the tool itself. Features. Book Creator includes a variety of features that support student learning. Students can combine text, audio, images, and video within a single project, which allows them to express their ideas in multiple ways. The platform is also very user-friendly, which makes it accessible for students at varying different levels of tech experiences. These features make it a flexible and powerful tool for classroom use. Uniqueness. What makes this tool unique is its ability to combine multiple forms of communication into one cohesive project. Rather than focusing only on writing, students are able to create a full multimedia experience. This allows them to take more ownership of their work and express their understanding in ways that feel more authentic and engaging. Support systems. Book Creator also offers strong support systems for both teachers and students. There's tutorials, guides, examples, and even templates, which help to make implementing it more manageable. Because of this, teachers do not need extensive training to begin using this tool effectively. Accessibility. Book Creator supports accessibility by providing multiple ways for students to engage with content and demonstrate their understanding. Students can record their voice instead of writing, use visuals to support their ideas, and work at their own pace. This flexibility helps meet the needs of diverse learners and supports a more inclusive classroom environment. Comparison. When compared to traditional instruction, Book Creator offers a more interactive and engaging learning experience. While traditional writing focuses primarily on text, this tool allows students to incorporate multiple elements that enhance communication and understanding. This makes learning more dynamic and better aligned with the skills students need today. Research support digital storytelling. Research by Kwa and Ng 2022 highlights that digital storytelling significantly improves student literacy skills, including reading, writing, and speaking. It also increases student engagement by allowing students to take an active role in their learning rather than passively receiving information. What stood out to me is digital storytelling is described as student-centered learning approach, where students construct meaning by creating content using multimedia elements like text, audio, and visuals. This directly supports the use of Book Creator because it's built around those exact components. Students aren't just writing, they're combining multiple forms of communication to build understanding. This makes learning more meaningful and helps students develop both literacy and communication skills at the same time. Research Support 2 Communication and Thinking. Murati and Chen, 2019, found that digital storytelling enhances communication, collaboration, and critical thinking skills. Students are required to organize their ideas, reflect on their choices, and consider how their message will be understood by an audience. The research also emphasizes that digital storytelling extends learning beyond traditional classroom practices because students are actively creating and sharing ideas rather than just simply completing assignments. This supports the use of Book Creator because students are doing more than writing. They're designing, narrating, and presenting their thinking. They must think critically about how to communicate their ideas clearly using both text and multimedia. This adds depth to the learning experience and helps students engage with content in a more meaningful way. Research Support 3 Multimedia Learning. According to Richard Mayer's multimedia learning theory, students learn more effectively when information is presented using both words and visuals rather than text alone. This is because combining multiple forms of information helps students process and retain content more deeply. This strongly supports the use of Book Creator because the platform allows students to integrate text, images, and audio in one cohesive product. Instead of relying on a single model of expression, students are more able to represent their understanding in multiple ways. This not only improves comprehension, but also allows for students to demonstrate their learning in ways that align with their strengths. Barriers. There are a few potential barriers to implementing this tool. Teachers may feel unsure about using new technology, especially without training. Time is also a factor, as learning a new tool and redesigning lessons can feel overwhelming. Finally, access to devices or reliable technology can impact how easily this can be implemented. Solutions. To address these barriers, schools can provide targeted professional development focused on practical classroom use. Starting with a small pilot, lessons can help teachers build confidence. Additionally, using devices already available in the school can help minimize access issues. Evaluation of solutions. To evaluate whether these solutions are effective, schools can gather teacher feedback after training, observe classrooms through walkthroughs, and look at student engagement and the quality of their work. This helps to determine whether the tool is actually improving learning outcomes. Cost. Book Creator offers a free version that is often sufficient for classroom use, along with a paid version that provides additional features. This makes it a relatively accessible option for schools, especially when compared to a more expensive technology tool. If a teacher would like a full year subscription, it would be about $135. If we're looking at a whole district, that price seems to be fairly negotiable because they aren't willing to give a firm price online. Leadership Lens. From a leadership perspective, this tool supports student voice by giving all students multiple ways to express their understanding. It also promotes equity by supporting diverse learners. Additionally, it is scalable across grade levels and subject areas, making it a strong option for school-wide use. Recommend Book Creator. Based on this evaluation, I recommend the use of Book Creator. It not only increases student engagement and creativity, but also transforms learning by allowing students to create and share multimedia work in ways that would not be possible without technology.